Welcome back, guys, to another video. And today we'll be getting right into the Valley episode 5, I believe we're at right now. And oh, Jesse. Like, Jesse, what are we going to do with you? You keep basically putting yourself in situations that I'm wondering if it is that you're doing this for TV or you're actually this way. Um, we saw the continuation from the night before. We all know he stormed out to his room and he basically was, I guess, upset about what was said in regards to the whole Michelle, what she said. And he spirals out of control. He starts day drinking and he basically was back and forth this episode when it came on to Michelle. So they planned a trip to a winery and while they were there, prior to heading there, he was literally already off, pretty much off because he was drinking already before they left. And then when they actually arrived, when they were on their way there, he basically was already intoxicated, where he was on the bus pretty much having a good old time, but it was not the typical Jesse that persons were accustomed or used to. And if this is how you are and we're heading to a winery, which there is more alcohol, I wouldn't don't know what exactly more are we going to get from you when it comes on to your behavior. Because if this is how you're behaving, and I guess that's kind of explained his demeanor, way how he spoke to Michelle. And I'm not really a big fan of Michelle, but the way how he handled the situation, I was like, can we just get along to get along's sake? Um, so they arrived at the winery, they did their wine tasting and everything, and I believe then at one point after that, I think Jesse said that he wanted to speak to Michelle privately, and she said sure, which was surprising to me because she has pretty much been avoiding him despite it's his trip. She has basically been avoiding him when he came on to any sort of conversation or anything regard to him. So I was surprised that she was okay in wanting to have a conversation with him. Now they moved off to the other side and they started to have the conversation. And she thought that he would be basically apologizing for the comment he made about her being a hooker. And of course, that was not what he was more concerned about. He was more wanting to get her to say that she cheated, which she doesn't seem to want to admit to. And also, he was more concerned, I should say, about why is it that doesn't want him to be happy because he supposedly has a girlfriend now and he's happy for her and her boyfriend. So why is it that she's not happy for him? Now, there were two instances where I kind of see Jesse's side, and then there are moments where I understand Michelle's side. So for her, she is like, this lady or this new female basically is making threats to sue or whatever in regards to mentioning if Michelle mentions is her name and stuff like that. And rightfully so, you don't want someone who you don't necessarily see eye to eye around your child. So I think that's the concern for Michelle on her side. But then on Jesse's side, I see where it comes off as if that Michelle wants her cake and she wants to eat it because she has a boyfriend who the child I believe is saying I love you and stuff to the new boyfriend. But she wants to be happy and her relationship is so wonderful where I don't see Jesse right now making issues or complaints in regards to how much time is being spent with the new boyfriend around his child, etc., etc. So I see where it comes off a bit selfish, where it seems that Michelle doesn't want necessarily to enjoy or have him enjoy his relationship, but she wants the respect and the grace basically for her to be in her relationship and have no repercussions or anything coming from it. And this is where I'm basically with Jesse, where he says that why is it that you don't want me to be happy? Because I, to my knowledge, have not seen where Jesse has really come after her new boyfriend. It's more like taunting Michelle because he wants her to own up to the fact that she cheated, but it doesn't seem as if she is basically trying to give such grace when it comes on to him and his relationship. So I think that's where they are both going at it. And this is where, again, he still really wants her to admit that she cheated because she's painting this picture as if he was this horrible husband and whatever she's alluding to, but she's then trying to make herself the victim and that she was totally fine or perfect throughout this marriage. And I think that's what's frustrating when it comes on to Jesse, because now you're painting the narrative, but you don't want to own up to what you have done. And I think that's what he wants from her. And that's what's making her frustrated because she just wants an apology for being called a hooker. But yeah. Now we got Danny who decided to arrive at the winery, and before you know the Michelle of it all blowed up. We saw here he came. I believe this was prior to the conversation. I think that happened where he came, he started drinking. Persons are concerned about his drinking because we all know what goes on when he drinks. Then that was happening while that was going on over the other table. Then we had Michelle getting up, I guess, because I think Jesse said something to her. I can't remember exactly. She got up from the table and she started to throw this tantrum. And all I could really see it as was a tantrum because you got up and said something and clearly no one heard you or acknowledged you. And you felt like you need to say it louder so everybody can hear that something else is going on. And this is what I don't like with her is because she speaks so slowly and then at the same time she pretends as if like she is so much more stable or whatever, and she just comes off a bit very tantrumy and wants the attention. I remember exactly when it was they were at Janet's birthday thing and she found out what she found out and she pretty much wanted everybody to side with her to kick Jesse off of his own trip. This is the thing I don't like with Michelle. Like, she never wants to take accountability. She always wants a spotlight on her. She's always throwing some tantrum. She is our moral compass sometimes to me seems way off. And when she got up from the table and she was pretty much screaming or shouting, I was like, "You're just doing this for attention." Because if you were so upset with the conversation, all you had to do was get up from the table and go back to the other table with the rest of the ladies. But no, you had to get up and actually scream at the top of your mouth or your lungs for everybody to hear what is going on at the table. I don't know how far away they were sitting from the group, but you had to get up to make this big show to say that, oh my God, here goes Jesse again saying something that pissed me off. And that's where I was like, okay, like you lose me right here because if he said something and you said something to him, you didn't need to repeat it so everybody else now can hear it. You could have gotten up, say what you wanted to say, and go back to the table with the rest of the persons. There was no need for you to be going on and throwing this big tantrum. We then got back to the house, and of course, we still saw where Jax. I'm trying to remember if Jax has sent. I think he sent a message to Brittany, and it sounded a bit more on the positive side. It wasn't a more like the previous day when he was basically bashing her and at the same time messaging others in the group, pretending as if like everything is so great here. So it seems as if that he was somewhat a bit more zen than how he was the day before. And I think that was what more Britney is more basically happy for, because it's one thing when, okay, he's not physically here. And then you have to be dealing with these rage texts from him. So I think that was a bit more calming for her, where she didn't have to deal with this constant badgering when it came on to Jax of it all. Then we saw where, of course, they were having some dinner at the actual place that they were staying at. Of course, Danny was caught basically taking more shots when they got back to the house. But of course, he was hiding doing it because I guess Nia knows how he gets and basically, I'm assuming, would not condone him taking more alcohol. The fact that he drank so much at the winery and then he came back here and then taking more shots, and we all know how he gets. So he was in the room sleeping it off, and I think they were at the table and she came and she was He was been exhausted because he just came back from a work thing and whatever the case might be, and persons at the table were upset with it. I personally did not see the big deal. If he is intoxicated and he's sleeping it off, isn't that a good thing? What would you want him to be, awake and then at the table doing or saying something to someone, and then there goes again where you say Danny said something that basically is off-putting. So I did not get the understanding or the reason for why persons at the table were going so hard about why Nia did not just state that he's drunk and he's sleeping it off. Like, what is the big deal? Like, we're seeing it on camera that clearly he was drinking and he slept it off. So why does it matter, Brittany, if she says that he was drunk or he's not drunk or whatever? We see what it is, and he's in his room sleeping it off. He's not outside harassing anyone or doing anything. So why is it such a big deal? And for me, I thought that Brittany was just projecting, because I don't see what if is she and her marriage, if this is how she wants to handle it and come off as a perfect couple, then who cares? They're filming a reality show, the cameras are capturing it all, whether whatever she says in the scene with you guys we are seeing otherwise. Who cares? Brittany, maybe that's what you should have done when he came on to Jax, and maybe that is your, as again, projecting, because Jax is pretty much a mess up and he's now in rehab, and you're more concerned about that she's not talking about that her husband is drinking, so you want everybody to be as miserable as you. I did not see why is it that you were so bothered by what she was saying. And then you guys in the room, like kids, discussing behind her back. You're supposed to be friends with her. You're waiting until she gets up from the table to start discussing her. I did not like the way how Jasmine was behaving. Again, I think it was another projection because of what happened last time with her and you guys spoke it out, and I guess he apologized. Why are we still trying to blame someone to state that their husband was drinking or he's passed out drunk? You guys are on a trip. You guys were at a winery. People were drinking. People drink. So if they don't think they have a problem and they did something and he apologized for it or whatever, why are we still making this thing a big deal as if he is so horrible and he's tearing down the place, and we need to hold him accountable, and Nia needs to throw her husband under the bus and say yes, he's drunk and he's passed out and he needs to get help as well. Does he need to also go to rehab? I did not see the reason behind it, and I like the fact that Nia went ahead and confronted it, because despite of how she comes off, she did not just hide in her room or cried or anything like that. She actually went to confront the source. And I liked what she said to Brittany. Not because you're going through something means that no, you need to throw yourself at other persons or project your behavior or your whatever you're going through at someone else. So I enjoy the fact that she actually confronted Brittany about it. And of course, that's where we saw where it pretty much ended. But that was my takeaway from the episode. I did not see why these ladies were behaving like it's the end of the world. I think they're just more, and then they're trying to make it seem like she's not being real. Like last season, we have her talking about postpartum. What is it? Are you going to say that wasn't entertaining enough? So you want her now to come on TV and talk about her husband is a drunk? I don't get it. And it was just to me a bit much. But that was my takeaway from the episode. Let me know your thoughts were on the episode. Remember, guys, to like, comment, and subscribe to the video. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, y'all.